This is ThinkTech Hawaii. Community matters here.
Hey, aloha and welcome to Stan Energy Man on ThinkTech Hawaii, where community matters. I'm your faithful hydrogen hawking host, Stan Osterman from HCAT, the Hawaii Center for Advanced Transportation Technologies. And today I'd like to circle back a little bit and talk a little more about my trip to New York a couple weeks ago. You might recall that I was fortunate enough to be invited by the U.S. Department of Energy to a rather historical event, actually two events. The first being panel discussions presented by the newly formed Hydrogen Council to a large group of international investors. And the second, a more intimate event, was a meeting between the Hydrogen Council and state and federal government representatives. The big guns of the hydrogen industry have finally teamed up to bring hydrogen to scale in the world. And here's some of their official press release on these events. First, a little bit about the Hydrogen Council. It was launched at the World Economic Forum in Davos, Switzerland earlier this year. And the Hydrogen Council is a first of its kind global initiative determined to position hydrogen among the key solutions of the energy transition. Now, when they say energy transition, what they mean is the transition away from fossil fuels and burning coal and oil and things like that into sustainable, renewable energy. The group is currently composed of 27 members, of which 18 are within the steering committee, and there's 9 supporting members, and they're all based in North America, Europe, and Asia, so it truly is an international gathering. The companies include Air Liquide, Anglo American, Daimler, Honda, Hyundai, Shell, and the Linde Group, as well as Toyota. The first Hydrogen Council Investor Day was held on September 18th during Climate Week in New York City. That's where I was. The goal of this event was intended by industrial leaders, key financial and political players, was to discuss the contributions of hydrogen in the future energy mix and its key role in transition to sustainable and carbon-free energies. It was also an opportunity to raise awareness among the financial community on the investment opportunities presented by the development of hydrogen technologies for the future in industry, in automotive, in energy sectors, and everyone serving the energy transition. During this event, the Hydrogen Council announced the new arrivals of 3 North American companies. General Motors has joined the steering committee, now composed of 18 global companies, and Hydrogenics and Ballard, those are both fuel cell companies, I believe, are joining the council as supporting members. Air Liquide is delighted to have these 3 new companies to make the voice of hydrogen heard around the world. And the event, which was attended by more than 160 participants, took place in the presence of Benoit Pontier, the CEO of Air Liquide and co-chair of the Hydrogen Council. The next meeting of these 27 CEOs on the Hydrogen Council will take place during the Climate Change Conference, also known as COP23, in Bonn, Germany, November of this year. During the second day's events, when I was in New York City, I explained to the council and some of the investors also in attendance, because we did have a few of the investors show up the second day, that Hawaii may be a small marketplace compared to other states or other countries, but with just over 1 million citizens, but we have an aggressive statutes and policies that direct 100% clean energy from sustainable sources by 2045. I also shared that Hawaiian people have a natural respect for preserving our culture, our land, and our resources, as we share our home with millions of visitors each year from all over the world, making Hawaii the perfect place to showcase hydrogen technologies. I even pointed out that Hawaii's hydrogen highway only needs to be 3 stations to get our transportation sector momentum on Oahu. And after 2 or 3 years, we would have a mature hydrogen infrastructure on all our major islands. And that news was warmly received by the council and members there that were representing the investors. I've had several companies advise me that they would like to establish communications with us and our state and be part of our hydrogen future. This is very exciting times for me and for Hawaii. Now, switching gears just a little bit, I got a great video from a friend, Mike Stritsky, documenting a trip that he took in his Toyota Mirai. He did a little caravan from Los Angeles to Las Vegas with some friends, and I'd like to share that with you now. So, Robert, if we could roll that first tape.
There's something amazing going on right now behind the scenes that is about to burst onto the world stage. It's quietly gathering momentum and is only a few months away. Few people know about it, but many people are going to hear about it, and the consequences for what it represents for our society and our future are huge, and the clock is ticking. Prepare yourself for the first interstate hydrogen highway. Starting at the ITM fueling station in Riverside, California, a unique motorcade consisting of hydrogen-powered vehicles will cross the desert in close formation. And eventually make a grand entrance to the Mandalay Bay Convention Center in Las Vegas, Nevada, for one of the most important and popular trade shows in the world.
Okay, so we just pulled into an Air Liquide refueling station in Anaheim. Pull the cap off, set the cap in. Squeeze the trigger. There's your pressure and bar.
That's kilograms of fuel.
The range, about 330 miles max.
What's the range on these?
322 miles. So I just drove from Sonoma, California to here, and now we're off to Las Vegas.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Be there to find out about the latest in solar and hydrogen technology.
This is good for your home. You can actually have your own station at home. When we get into the hundreds at a time in stations, we're going to be able to offer that first model with a 2 kilogram a day station for less than $80,000. So when you think about it, you've got everything you need.
Today we've made history. We've traveled all the way here on a fuel cell vehicle, something that's never done before. We're doing stuff that the majors are not doing. But history is here, and others will follow me. That's why they call us pioneers.
So there's 8 tanks, 4 310-liter tanks per cube. Holds 75 kilograms total. Purging it of atmosphere, oxygen out of these lines.
We're the only ones with fuel cell cars that can make it to Vegas and back. Well, we've exceeded, 360 miles of travel on one tank. Oil companies are energy companies. Their shareholders don't give a crap where the money comes from, long as it shows up. And with solar and hydrogen, you basically never drill a dry hole. So, at the end of the day, this makes more sense than anything they've done to date because they're transitioning over to a new economy. In addition to that, they get all the carbon credits. So it's a win-win all the way around. There are 4 miracles that had to take place in order for hydrogen fuel cell vehicles to happen. We've solved the other 3. The last one that's left is the infrastructure, and that's where Texas fits in. You guys are the energy capital of the world. It's time to grab the winning horse and not let it be stolen from us from the Japanese and the Chinese and the French. Yeah, we just drove through Death Valley.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
How much is there?
It's 104 right now. So we'll have to fill up once more before we get to Riverside, but the proof that we can just do this is amazing. This is the ghost town exit. We're here of fossil fuel cars gone by. Okay, we just popped the cap. And we're ready for service. Here we are, halfway across the Mojave on our way back from our maiden voyage to Las Vegas, something that's never been done before. So if you look inside, there's what's called the H2 button. So you show me how many fossil fuel cars have a button that says H2O. Okay. Let it rip.
Oh my God.
Instant coffee. Oops, sorry. So we made it. We made history. Now we're going to make some more. Let's figure out how else we can throw a monkey wrench in the system to make this happen. This is the beginning of the Patriots, the hydrogen Patriots, and we're going to take on the British Petroleum for starters. Right. Thank you for coming out and helping us. Couldn't have done this without you. Also with you guys from Stone Edge Farms.
Absolutely.
Ryan, thank you.
Continue on I-15 south for 9 miles.
I'm getting the visuals for you, by the way, Mike.
So that was a little clip from Mike's big adventure on the way from LA to Las Vegas. So let me explain a couple things in the video. First of all, one of the early shots in the video shows a stretch of highway, and if you look off to the right, you see a big tall tower and some stuff that's reflecting. I know that nobody from Hawaii ever travels to Vegas, but for those of you that haven't traveled to Vegas, that's a huge solar farm, but not your typical solar panels. They're solar reflectors. And all the mirrors are trained on the sun, and they reflect energy back to a big tower that superheats water and runs a turbine and makes electricity. This is just outside of Las Vegas on the way to Los Angeles, and it's a really, really impressive sight, and actually almost scary. It's so huge. But the neat thing to point out about these hydrogen vehicles is they went over 360 miles before refueling. And those intermittent stops where they were refueling, they were actually only getting about a half a tank because the mobile refueler is only a 350 bar. And I can tell that by the type of adapter that goes onto the tank. I can tell it's a low pressure adapter. So those vehicles were going 360 miles between fill-ups, and they drove around Las Vegas for a few days and attended a few events while they were in Vegas. So then they had to stop on the border once before getting back to California to tap off before they got back to within stationary hydrogen stations in California. But a lot of exciting stuff happening, and as they pointed out in the video, there's a lot going on in hydrogen and a lot of people don't know about it. So get ready to hold on, because if I have anything to do with it, Hawaii's going to really take off and be the leader in hydrogen, not just for the US, but for the world. So Mike has been a Skype guest twice with us here on Stan Energy Man. He was also instrumental in helping us convert our GEM vehicle, which is a little electric quad, from plug-in electric only to a self-charging with a PV array on top and a hydrogen fuel cell range extender. And Mike told me yesterday that he's got a video coming out. It's actually a feature-length, like 2-hour-long video. And I told him that when it is out on the streets, I'll take it and show it at the state capitol as part of our HCAT Hydrogen Awareness Program. So thanks for all that, Mike. While I was in New York, I also got time to spend some time with a guy named Maury Markowitz, and he's the author and publisher of a fantastic newsletter that all of you should be subscribing to. Maury is the communications czar for the Fuel Cell and Hydrogen Energy Association. Let me say that one more time, the Fuel Cell and Hydrogen Energy Association. I would suggest you check that out on the web and maybe look online to see what his website's all about, and probably link into his newsletter. I've got a couple of articles coming up from his newsletter, and I'm going to take a quick break here for 60 seconds and be back, and we'll get into some of the news from that newsletter.
Oh, grandmother, what big eyes you have, she said. All the better to see you with, my dear.
That's a wolf. What are you doing?
Okay, push. Research says reading from birth accelerates the baby's brain development.
And you're doing that now?
Oh, yeah, this is the starting line. Push.
When this is over, you're dead.
Read aloud 15 minutes. Every child, every parent, every day.
Hello, I'm Helen Dora Hayden, the host of Voice of the Veteran, seen here live every Thursday afternoon at 1 p.m. on ThinkTech Hawaii. As a fellow veteran and veterans advocate with over 23 years experience serving veterans, active duty, and family members, I hope to educate everyone on benefits and accessibility services by inviting professionals in the field to appear on the show. In addition, I hope to plan on inviting guest veterans to talk about their concerns and possibly offer solutions. As we navigate and work together through issues, we can all benefit. Please join me every Thursday at 1 p.m. for the Voice of the Veteran. Aloha!
Hey, welcome back to Stan the Energy Man here on ThinkTech Hawaii on my lunch hour. As I said before the break, Marty Markowitz has got a great newsletter out. I'm just going to go through a couple of the things that he has in this month's newsletter. On September 8th, the California Fuel Cell Partnership announced opening of the state's newest retail hydrogen fueling station in Fremont. The station is operated by True Zero and brings the total number of public stations in California to 31. On September 12th, Mercedes-Benz officially announced the GLC fuel cell SUV, which they describe as the world's first fuel cell battery hybrid vehicle. And I'm going to interject here that I think that's kind of a stretch. It may be the first one made by them and the first one made in Germany, but it's not the first one. But it's a great-looking vehicle. The announcement took place on at the 2017 International Motor Show, the IAA, in Frankfurt, Germany. And the GLC fuel cell will be able to travel about 272 miles using its 2 tanks of hydrogen fuel and an additional 30 miles on a rechargeable lithium-ion battery. To conserve energy, and the heat given off by the SUV can also be used to help heat the car in cold weather. So the GLC fuel cell is now in pre-production, and according to Mercedes-Benz, will be available for sale in the United States in late 2019. So here's their promotional video for all of you art lovers. So let's roll tape 2, Robert, and show them the new Mercedes. I think it's a pretty cool looking vehicle. I was actually able to drive an earlier Mercedes model about 2 years ago. I think it was a prototype. And frankly, I was kind of disappointed. It was a little bit underpowered, it was kind of cramped, and it felt kind of tinny. Like you closed the door and it kind of echoed and sounded hollow. But this new one looks really beautiful, and it looks like they've really taken the time to make it right. So I'm excited to see what Mercedes has come out with. As a side note too, when I was in New York, the Hyundai representative was there, and talking to him, Hyundai's coming out with their Generation 2 fuel cells. So that means that by 2019, we should have on the market the Toyota Mirai, the Honda Clarity, the Hyundai Tucson, a new generation Hyundai, and the Mercedes. And my understanding is that in 2020, you can expect to see GM and Ford and probably several other companies, including American companies, like GM and Ford, come out with fuel cell production vehicles. These are all production vehicles now, so we're no longer in the laboratory, we're no longer experimenting. These are vehicles that are going to be on the road. On September 13th, Shell Company announced that Honda Toyota will be collaborating with their company on construction of several new hydrogen filling stations in Northern California. As reported last month in the newsletter by Maury, the California Energy Commission awarded Equilon Enterprises, a subsidiary of Shell, a grant of over $16.3 million to build 3 stations in San Francisco, 1 in Berkeley, Sacramento, Citrus Heights, and Walnut Creek. So if you're from Northern California, be looking for those stations to pop up in about a year. From September 18th to the 25th, the Connecticut Center for Advanced Transportation Technology, not to be confused with the Hawaii Center for Advanced Transportation Technology, hosted 2 international events on the advancement of refueling equipment for the hydrogen-powered vehicles. The working groups from worked on international standards organizations, International Technical Committee on Hydrogen Technologies, to meet and make recommendations on hoses and general requirements for hydrogen fueling. The standards are determined at the standards that are determined at these meetings are now being used to set minimum design characteristics for safety and performance of public and private hydrogen refueling stations worldwide. Representatives from the 5 companies attending the meetings, with the United States represented by scientists from the national laboratories and private businesses, were working on this project. In another Shell event on September 1st, Shell's German affiliate announced plans to build a 10-megawatt hydrogen electrolysis plant. This is huge. The biggest one I've ever heard in the United States is a 1 megawatt. And this is to provide power to the new crude oil refinery in Westling, North Rhine-Westphalia, Germany. According to Shell, the electrolysis plant would be the largest in Germany, as well as the largest polymer electrolyte membrane, PEM, electrolyzer in the world. The Shell, along with ITM Power, Syntef, ThinkStep, Element Energy, and some others, have been invited by the European Fuel Cells and Hydrogen to joint undertaking to prepare a contract for the electrolysis plant project. In a blog also posted on August 24th, Toyota's United Kingdom branch highlighted its support of advancing renewable hydrogen fuel through the Energy Observer, the world's first hydrogen-powered boat. Now, I got to interject something here. I'm sure there's somebody who made a hydrogen-powered boat in their little lake in their backyard, but we're going to show you a video of this boat. This is actually a ship, more than a boat. And the Energy Observer is powered by 2 Toyota Mirai fuel cells and sources its hydrogen from the solar, wind, wave energy, and the water around it. The vessel started its maiden voyage over the summer, with plans to visit over 101 ports in 50 countries and over 6 years. Kind of sounds like Hokulea. And the fuel cells, along with 6 Toyota hybrid cars, to support the project team, were provided by Toyota France. The Energy Observer is currently docked in Cherbourg, France, and will head to Nantes, France later in September. Following that, the boat will travel across the Mediterranean before heading to Northern Europe. So let's roll that tape of the boat. It's a beautiful vessel, and I wonder why they didn't put sails on it too. Kind of help the hydrogen out. Well, you get bonuses on this clip because you get to practice your French.
Energy Observer, c'est aussi un projet d'éducation, de sensibilisation à la 3e révolution industrielle, celle
Hey, c'est joli le gros bateau, eh? C'est bon. Anyway, next week, Sunday, October 8th, is Hydrogen Day, and I'm more excited about that than my own birthday. That's right, the atomic weight of hydrogen is 10.79 or 1079. So we round the 7-9 up to 8, and that makes it 10-8 or October 8th. So October 8th is Hydrogen Day. Let's all get out there and have a gas on Sunday. Another date to mark on your calendar is November 7th. That's a kickoff of the 2017 Fuel Cell Seminar and Energy Exposition being held in Long Beach Convention Center in Long Beach, California. That'll be November 7th through the 9th, coming up in the next couple months. So check it out, and then head to Vegas on your pre-Thanksgiving pilgrimage, because I know that's what you're going to do. If you get all the way to LA, you're going to go to Vegas. Maybe you can get your Mirai and drive there like Mike Stritsky did. So thanks again to Marty Morkowitz for all of his inputs from his great newsletter. And I really encourage everyone to jump onto their website and look at what he does, because he works really hard to bring out international news to everyone that talks to hydrogen. So HCAT was planning on a Hydrogen Day events on its own this year, and we struck a deal with the folks on Street Grinds to get a little bit more participation and visibility. Though we had to opt to celebrate Hydrogen Day a little bit early, and we combined it with Oktoberfest. So forget whatever plans you had for tonight and head to Kaka'aka Waterfront Park at the corner of Alamon and Cook Street from 5 to 9 and check out the new Toyota Mirai with your very own eyes, and you can actually touch one right there on Cook Street. All of HCAT's great hydrogen-powered trailer utilities are going to be there, and all the best food trucks will be there. And we may even have a hydrogen grill for some brats, and that's no joke. Paul Pontio is bringing his hydrogen walk burner from the Big Island, and HCAT has a new hydrogen grill we want to check out. So come by and check us out. Well, that'll do it this week for Stan the Energy Man. Mahalo to Cindy and Robert for making all the magic work in the studio today. And join me next week for Stan the Energy Man here on ThinkTech Hawaii, where community matters. Aloha.